Hello, fellow vapors. This is Crash with CrashVapes.com. Today I am here to do a unpackaging and setup of the new iHybrid version 2.1 in gunmetal that I got from 310vapors.com about a week ago. I ordered it, came in the mail yesterday. So I've taken it out of the package, but I haven't unpacked anything. I did roll a wick for it and oxidized it using some 500 stainless steel mesh. And I figured let's go ahead and set this thing up and see how it works. So let's camera down and we'll go through it. So this is how it comes from them. From 310 Vapors, comes in this nice pack. It's pretty well secured. And then this is the 350 sleeve that was in the package as well. The sleeve had actually come out of this foam piece here and rolled around a little bit. Got a little bit of scuffs on it, a couple little scuffs on it. See if I can get this thing to focus in right. All right. That looks good right about there. So the little sleeve, I don't know if you'll be able to see the marks on it. There's just a few little scuff marks from the Allen wrench that was floating around at the bottom of the bag with it. Not too big of a deal. I contacted 310. I haven't heard back from them yet. It's so minor that I don't want to cause a fuss about it, but it is a new device and it wasn't really packaged properly, with this being just in here with no kind of protection to keep it from sliding out. So I'd like them to take care of me on that somehow. Anyhow, so there's the 350 sleeve. And this guy, you just pull off the end cap and then your device will slide right on out. So here is the new finish on the gunmetal. It's got a nice feel to it. You know, I have the Orion and the Zen, and the feel is similar to that. This is aluminum, obviously, and not the stainless that the Zen and Orion are made out of. But the feel is nice. It is a little bit larger around than an Orion, which is kind of hard to tell. But if I grab my my calipers here, zero these guys out. The Orion, 22.5 millimeters, and then the iHybrid is 25 millimeters. So a little bit wider. Not a big deal though. I do like the feel of it. It feels good in your hand. Yeah, so it's not too bad. So anyhow, the top unscrews. This is the tank protector. Unscrews like so, and it has a cool little eye on it, which I'm sure you've seen if you've been looking at these. And then the top cap is a O-ring retained top cap. It's stainless steel. And then this whole upper piece here is stainless as well. This entire, I guess you'd call it the atomizer part of it, unscrews from the battery compartment like so. In the bottom you've got your positive connection, which is all brass. Tank itself, which is made out of a glass. I would assume it's a borsilate or Pyrex. I'm pretty sure I butchered how you pronounce that. And then in here comes a sleeve that if you're not running the tank protector, you can run the sleeve down on the atomizer piece like so, and it'll match up with the battery compartment and make it look, you know, as it's complete rather than having threads there if you're not running the tank protector, which is kind of cool. I think this was a new feature. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was a new feature that he started sending these out. And this has a little gap on it. I don't know which way it goes. I'll mess with that later. Then you have your battery tube and your switch assembly. The switch assembly unscrews from the bottom. And in here, as you can see, it's a brass screw with a Darylin or plastic of some sort retainer. I would assume it's Darylin. And then the switch lock, which is awesome. The Zen that I have doesn't have a switch lock, as you guys know, which kind of bugs me if you're trying to put it in your pocket. It's great for around the house, but As you can see, that won't push in. Yeah, it's great for around the house, but if you're trying to go somewhere and toss it in your pocket, it doesn't really work out so well with the Zen. So having a locking switch is kind of cool, I think, on this device. And then there's the iHybrid logo itself on the bottom of the switch. And this is all aluminum right here with, with regards to, or besides the brass, but the rest of the switch assembly is aluminum. So with the two different tank sizes, there you can see your 350 and your 650. And then, oh yeah, I forgot about this screw here. I haven't really done enough research to know the difference between the two screws. But from what I understand, you can replace the top screw here with this screw here, and it gives you a different draw. I'll play around with it over the next few weeks and see what does what for me. So let's throw this guy back together, and then we'll go ahead and put a coil and wick in it and some juice and see how it works. So that just screws down on the top. These are directional, by the way, so you can't put it the wrong way. If you look on this here, you can see that they're different size threads. This is a lot larger on this side, and that's the side that the atomizer screws into for the tank assembly. So we'll pop that on, and let's come up a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and build a coil. I haven't put this together yet, as you can tell, totally clean, brand new. And we'll see if we can get this to work. Now, I did use some 500 mesh. I've pre-oxidized this guy a little bit. It's a 50 millimeter, I think is what I did before I rolled it. 50 by 20, 50 tall, 20 wide. And there's a small hole in the middle. I tried to make this one a little tighter, but then I started getting it a little too thin. So I don't know how well it's going to work, but I figured we'd start with this. As you can see, there's a little bit of a gap around the wick, which is crucial. I've noticed with these devices, if it's too tight in there, if it doesn't have a little bit of play, it's a little bit harder to get rid of grounds or hot spots, at least for me. I don't know if it's like that for everybody. So here I've got some 32 gauge A1 Canthal, and if I can find my snips, just take off this little section here, and we will build a wick. So I haven't preheated this Canthal at all. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I haven't decided if it really makes that big of a difference on it. But let's just go ahead and try this and see what happens. See if I can get it to focus right here. All right, that looks pretty good. So I just turned off autofocus. So I'm going to wrap this. I usually grab it like so, put a little loop in it right there. And then I'll take that and wrap it around with the long side as close to the wick as possible. Everybody, there's so many different methods out there for making wicks. I've tried a couple different ones. Some work, some don't for me. Some are just too difficult for me to do. But as long as I can get this guy right and not too snug around the coil, we should be good. So then I take that little extra piece, just wiggle it around tightly until it pops off. And now here, we'll just start wrapping. So as you see, I've got it going around the outside there. And we'll just go around. When I do this, I don't pull too snugly. I mean, I pull snugly, but I don't pull it so hard where it's going to move the wick around a whole lot. Wick making's, or I'm sorry, coil making's really an art form, and I really don't have it down 100% yet. But I think that might work right there. At least get us started. So I'm going to come back around, and I'm just going to snug this top down, and then I'm going to kind of inspect and see how it all feels. Don't want it too tight. You know, you want some spaces in there. Well, you don't want spaces, but you don't want it to be so tight that it's pulling everything, and it feels pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that down all the way. I'll wiggle that around, pop it off. Now let's just toss a battery in here and see what happens. I've got a IMR 18650, 1500 milliamp hour. It's the standard battery that I use for pretty much all my devices. Pop it in the bottom. Tighten in our switch. And I've got this locked right now. Let's see if I can get it threaded back in. All right, so there it is. Now let's just see what happens here. So you can see I have a major hot spot right there at the top. So let's see if I can get it to calm down a little bit. Still pretty bad. Sometimes, you know, you push on the wick, kind of push on different parts to get it to work. And that is a major hot spot. This battery, I don't think it was 100% fresh, but it was still pretty new. You know, I'm going to see if I can get this to work a little better here. I can feel it's just a little too tight around the top there. So, loosen this up a little. Actually, maybe I can push that wick a little bit. There we go, that's a little better. So all I did was I just pushed the wick over closer to that center post. And it loosened up that top coil. You want the wick as close as possible without it actually touching. If it's touching, then you've got a short. But that's pretty darn close. So it's still a little hot spot near the top there, which you can just take your poking device, kind of move stuff around a little bit. Try to get them as even as possible. That's starting to look pretty even right there. Let me turn autofocus back on here and get real close. So that's looking pretty darn good. So I'd say that's about as good as we're going to get with that. I did a 4-3 wrap, 32 A1 Canthal, which is kind of my standard. I've been doing the 4-3, 3-4 wrap for most of my devices, and it seems to work the best for me. So let's go ahead and get some juice in here. I've got some of my Freedom Smoke USA honey blonde here, and I've got this in my syringe with the big blunt tip on there. Just slide it into the hole and fill her on up. And then I'm going to save a little bit right in there to go on the actual wick itself. Get it nice and wet. All right, topped it off. That's pretty significant. That's pretty good right there. Awesome. So we'll take our top cap, has the hole in it, of course, for your air, and line that up with your wick, like so. And then I'm just going to grab my drip tip off my Zen here, or my tip. Pop this guy in. It smells like fluid. Pop that in, and we'll try it out. Wow, that's pretty good. Tons of vapor, as you can see. The flavor, you know, being a new wick and coil, it's not 100% there, but it's pretty tasty so far. No burnt, no hot spots. It seemed to work pretty well on that coil. As you all know, it takes usually about a tank or so to run through the new wick and coil before it really starts getting good flavor to it. But so far, not bad. Now, one little gripe that I have just right off the bat that I see is I like my window to line up with my wick, which it doesn't. It's 90 degrees off. But being that it's almost 90. Yeah, it's not a full 90, but it's close. I would prefer if it was 90 because then I'd know, either straight on with the wick or 90 degrees. That way I would know exactly where my air holes should be when I put the cap on. Makes it a little easier, but still not too big of a deal. Do I have it lined up? Yeah, so there you can see it with the wick. And that's a little bit off. Not too big of a deal though. This thing feels pretty good in my hand. I was surprised at how well it really fits. Like, I'm used to the Orion. This is the one that I've been carrying around with me a lot, and the fit on this is good. It's skinny, and I thought that this would bug me a little bit being fatter, but it's actually quite nice with the button placement, and the way you hold it to fire it off is really not an effort. With the Zen, it's a little bit different. Well, it's a longer throw, I think, and that might be the part that makes it a little bit more difficult because you got to push a little harder and squeeze a little bit more. But yeah, this is pretty good. So let's try this in 850 or the 350 mode and see how that works. Now these 350 batteries I have are fresh. We'll just take our switch off, pull our battery out. Take that sleeve off so I can grab the tank there. Pull that off, grab our 350, and you put it with the large threads up, or the wider threads up, wider hole. Screw that on, grab a 350, pop it in, put our bottom on, our switch, and let's see. Just as good as with the 650. Now here's this little ring protector since we got this guy all assembled. Slide it on and screw it on down. And there it is with the sleeve on, which is actually pretty darn cool. Looks really good. It's nice and clean. That the fit right there is perfect. There's no gap. It goes together quite well. And if we pull that guy off, slide our tank protector back on in 350 mode. There's your overall length. Just for comparison, here's Orion in 650 mode. You can see that's pretty close to the same size, being this is in 650 mode. So it shows you the larger size of this setup, but big part of that's the tank. I mean, the capacity is huge. I don't know, I think I put in almost 5 mil. I mean, you can see it's more than double, and it's also larger around because the Orion steps down. And if you compare that with the Zen tank, I've got the stainless on here because I broke both my other ones. It's about the same size as the Zen tank. And here's the overall height, 650 mode on the Zen and 350 on the iHybrid. And since I got that sitting right here, let me just switch out and put these side by side for overall height, which I hadn't done yet. It'll be interesting to see if they're any different. Seems like I've been threading all morning. Slide our switch back in. Okay, overall, the Zen is still a little taller, but not by a whole lot. Obviously, I don't have a tip on there, but that's pretty darn close. I'd say the fitments or the size, height, girth, all of that is right in there with where they all should be. Good fit, good feel. The air draw is really good. I don't know what size this is. I didn't even look when I was buying it, but I would guess it's the 3/16. It's the same size, I believe, as the Zen. I've got this little drill bit here in it. It's actually a little bit tighter than the Zen, but not a whole lot. But it's good. I like the draw. When I first got the Zen, my biggest complaint was the air draw. It just had a lot of air draw. And I was actually watching a show the other day on, was it Vapor Cruise, I think it is? No, not Vapor Cruise. Vape Link. And Zen was on there, and he was talking about the tight draw cap that he had and then the regular standard draw cap that he had. And he said that he stopped making the tight draw cap because he was sending it to people that wanted a tight draw cap, and they were actually returning them saying that they didn't like it as much as the open draw because they were getting used to the open draw. And Zen said that the way he designed his was the chamber size and the draw and everything was matched to the coil and all that stuff. So it's actually per design that he did that, and I would assume that that Faceless did kind of the same thing with this. So yeah, I mean it's awesome. It works quite well. As you can see, that's a ton of vapor. 32 Canthol, 3/4/4/3 wrap. Plenty of wicking on this. This is the 500 stainless. You can see it's just now starting to dry out. Ooh, it looks like I got another little hot spot. Unless I just did that myself. I'm sure I got to tweak this coil around a little bit. There we go. But yeah, it's totally awesome. Pretty impressed. I am sold. I like this device. Didn't get it for free. As like with some of my eSmoky Treat stuff, I did purchase this, so I'm not biased in any way on this device. I absolutely love my Orion, which I also bought, and the Zen's good, but it has its own time and place. The Orions are great in the pocket. I'm going to carry this around for a while, see how it works with the locking switch. I mean, having that lock out so easily like that is just great. Which will be a big benefit for me because I like keeping my e-cigs in my pocket when I'm not vaping on them. And I guess that's pretty much about it. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or otherwise, feel free to post here or on my blog. And you guys have a great day. Thank you very much. See you later.